Might mix it up with some different shapes, different colors. Hello, this is BJ from Hearns Hobbies, and welcome back to another episode of this time. I'm going to be continuing on the build of the Comical Grasshopper. So Brett has been kind enough to build most of this, and he's left the body work up to me. So in the previous episode, he's actually cut out the body and put the mask on me. Mask on for me. He hasn't actually put the mask on me. That would be a bit strange, wouldn't it? But you can see how this has all been cut nicely, and it's been cleaned as well. Just a little bit of detergent, some water, and it's just been rubbed down and dried off. Okay, so I'm going to be spending this time to build. No, not to build. I'm actually spending the time painting. Okay, so we've got the bare body here, and we're actually getting this ready for the Vintage Bash, which is coming up. So we wanted it to be quite different and unique. I'm sure a lot of people will be doing a box art for it, or I've even heard people are going to be doing a blockhead version. So I'm going to try and avoid those and do something totally different. Now, they come with the sticker sheets here. Okay, so it's quite comprehensive. And then we're also going to use some of these blockhead motor stickers as well. So taking that into consideration, I'm going to come up with some sort of scheme for this. I've been experimenting with some colors, and I'm going to continue experimenting. And I think we're going to go for a mainly blue type of finish. And I've got a variety of paints right here. So quite a lot of these. Whoops, it's like I gave birth then. Quite a few of these are different blues. These are in the collection of Vallejo and also green stuff Lord. Green stuff I've got some color shifts, which I'm going to play with. And we'll probably just do a various graduations of different blues and some shadow lines. And I've got my airbrush all set up and some freehand. So I think I'm going to start freehanding some shapes out of some of this color shift. And I think I'll do a bit of this one. This is the Martian green, which has got a purple and a green finish. Just shake it up. Gotta make sure it's all shaken up so we get all the pigments right. And I've got a collection of brushes here as well. And I'm just going to do some freehand brushing to start with. So I've got a little cup here. These little cups are handy just for putting the paint out. You never use those for mixing up with thinners for airbrushing, or I'm just going to pour the paint out into there so I can brush straight away. Now I haven't really considered very much the scheme, so I'm just going to be playing along as I go, just to my heart's content, whatever feels more natural. Alright, so with these color shifts, the pigment does settle to the bottom, and once it sort of looks uniform throughout the whole bottle, that's when I'll start pouring it out and give it a bit more of a shake. You can hear the barbarian that's inside there just shaking around. All right, I think that's good. So this is a purple that shifts to green, and it's going to look quite interesting because it's going to be a blue base. I actually tried this on another body before, and it looks quite interesting. All right, so I've got it there. Let's just move this car away from here. I've also got some white paper, which I use as base. Okay, so it's easy to see the colors, and I will be using that to see the color through here, because semi-transparent color is very hard to see. You'll see whatever's behind it. So the white behind it will give us a better indication of what sort of color it's going to turn out to be. So I can live there. All right, so at the moment, let's see. I'll pick a brush. All right, I'm picking this sort of broadish flat brush, and I'll start. We'll mix it up a bit more in here. And this is a semi-transparent color, so when I put on the top coats, or in this case, because we're going in reverse with a polycarbonate body, the backing coats, it's going to look a little bit different. Okay, so let's see, what should I do? Let's do some little squiggles, I guess. Not too sure what this is going to look like, but give it a go. Might mix it up with some different shapes, different colors. Now quite often you see these bodies are all airbrushed with not much detail being brush painted. It just gives it a bit more of an artistic flair, I guess. Because I don't want this body looking like anyone else's, because when we're racing, we want to be able to recognize our own body, so we can concentrate on the direction we're going. So just doing some spots now. Let's see from the outside. Now it may be difficult for you to see there, but it's going to shift from different colors. It'll be more noticeable when darker color goes on. I can see the purple coming through now, but the green or goldy color will come through from different angles. Be more noticeable out in the open. But I think it looks pretty funky. And funky is what we want. Okay, so let me just do some more shapes here. A few more dots. All right, so we're just mixing it up a bit. Now what do I do on the sides? I'll probably do a similar thing to the sides. Now this is going to look really subtle until you hit it with the light. Now with the freehand, you notice I'm not really taking much care. This is very, very rough and casual, I guess. Let's see if you can see it when I put the white here. See how the lines are just coming through? Okay, so that's that on the back end. Let's get a bit more of this, because I'm going to use this as a theme throughout the body. Let's do parts of the roof as well. So I've picked the center, so that helps me plan the other lines either side. And we'll do some more dots. Okay, all right, so I've got the roof, the back, we've got the sides. I might do some more along here just to balance it up a bit. I won't do too much, but just to get the theme consistent. Okay, all right, I think that's sort of pretty funky. They look a bit like flames. All right, I think that'll do with this purple green. I'm just going to, let's get some water and I'll wash this off. That's a great thing about these acrylic water-based paints. I'll just clean up in some water. I don't have a lot of odor. I am going to seal all this up with some polycarbonate paint though. So later on I'll spray the PS1 white. So we'll just do this and we'll just clean off all that. Alright, so cap that shut. Alright, what other colour should I use now? I've got this other color, which is a blue. So this is going to be even subtle again because we're going to be putting blue over the top. And I'll use this for doing some more freehand work. And I might concentrate on the front with this one. Again, I'm shaking it up, getting all the pigment all the way through. So this has got a touch of purple in it as well. I really like these color shift paints because they add so much interest. All right, I think that's good. All right, so I'm going to get myself another little container here. All right, so there's another one there. Drip some paint out, there we go. I might use a different brush now. Let's get something a bit finer. Should I do finer? Maybe, let's go this one. It's still a flat brush, a little bit finer than the other one. Does give it a different shape. It's got some pretty groovy, it's got a bit of a mother of pearl effect in here. It looks pearlescent. All right, so let's do it from this side. I'm going to paint on a whole lot of 6s. Why 6s? I don't know. I've got the 666 there now, so if you know what the 666 means, then bit of a mark of the devil, I guess, because hopefully this is going to go devilishly fast. And it's a bit of an experiment anyway, because I'm not too sure how these are going to come up. You can definitely have fun with it, because I'm basically just ad-libbing at the moment. Alright, so a whole bunch of 6s, you can just sort of see them coming through. Now viewed from the other side, it's probably going to look like 9s. Is that a good thing? Don't know. We'll find out after we complete it all. It might be an absolute fail. It doesn't matter because we're learning stuff at the same time. Okay, it's a bit hard to get in from this angle. Let's just try and hold the brush from the very end, see what happens. Just doing this pretty rough and ready. I think it's looking okay at the moment. Okay, that's what we've got so far. All right, so I've got it coming down to about here. Let's see how I can build that into following into this part a bit. So I might just continue doing some dots. Doing some big chunky dots. So I guess bringing it all the way to the back is sort of marrying up those two different effects. So I've got the purple green at the back, blue purple at the front. I was always been intrigued with the Kendone art car, because some time ago BMW had quite a number of artists create some livery on BMWs, and it's always struck me as one of the cars I really like. It was a BMW M3 with the big flares, and he had this Kendone effect, which I tried to replicate many years ago. So I can just sort of see these dots coming through. You might be able to see those from that angle. All right, so this is just to add a little bit of detail. Yeah, it looks all right. I don't mind it. Okay, I think that's all I'll do with the color shifts. Put those there. Might use those a bit later. Let's clean this off. All right, so from now I'm going to start some airbrushing of some shadows. So with the shadows, I'm going to concentrate around all these edges here. Now I'm going to start with, what should I do? Actually, I might do a darker version of the blue, and I'll mix one up here. All right, so here's another little container. I've got these Vallejo blues here, and I've got this candy black. So the candy black I'm going to use for darkening. I've got to make sure I don't use too much of this, because black overpowers a lot of colors. So let's just start with a little bit. Got 2 drops in there, very little. And now let's get a base blue. That's Flouro. That's a candy. All right, there's a basic blue. Now these Vallejo Premiums are a polyurethane paint, which is designed to work on polycarbonate and stick. Okay, so you see how I've poured it in there.
Knock knock.
Hello.
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 How you going there, Beach?
I'm going all right, I think. I'm just mixing up this shadow tone.
Do you need a hand cleaning your airbrush or anything? Any assistance?
Well, if you got time.
You're a braver man than me airbrushing on camera. We all know how the last one went.
What do you mean? That was all good.
Oh my lord, look at this, ladies and gentlemen.
Is it a bit funky?
Wow.
I'm just experimenting. Do you like it?
I like it.
Do you?
What's all these 9s for?
Well, these 6s, they're the mark of the devil. But depends on which angle you look at it.
It's a comical grasshopper, mate. There's nothing devilish about it.
No, it's well, you'll see the 6s when it's upside down.
What is this? Have you spoken to people about these?
Yeah, so you can show again.
Can I open them?
You can open them. So
this is so exciting.
I'm just adding more black until this gets to the sort of tone I'm after.
Don't take that tone with me.
I wouldn't if you behave yourself.
All right.
All right, so that's the sort of darker blue. Looks a bit murky, doesn't it? What do you reckon? I don't think it really matters, because it's going to go on, and it's only going to be like, well, it's going to be thin shadows, not going to go over the whole thing. Okay, so this is just to give it a little bit of depth. I'll try it anyway. I'll see what it looks like. Your
bodies are a whole lot more technical than mine. You add a certain bit of class to your bodies.
I don't know if it's class. It's just trying to
mine are a bit more
complicate things, I think. All right, so I'm going to thin it now. So with these paints, you can airbrush them directly. They are a bit thick for my liking though, because I want a bit more control. So I'm going to thin it down with some of this.
What?
So this is a acrylic thinner. Now you can use water. The only issue I've found with just plain water is water takes longer to dry. Okay, and you can end up with water spots on really smooth surfaces.
Yeah.
So I'm going to use this stuff. So this is a mix of alcohol and water. And then I'm going to mix through a flow improver as well. So flow improver is like the detergent that we add in.
Bit of
but it's
emulsifier.
Yeah, but it's purer and it'll just hang on to the surface better. So I'm going to mix firstly this thinner until I get the consistency I want.
Do you need a pipette?
No, I use this method here.
Oh, look. Oh.
All right, and then
I'm watching you work. I learned so much.
Really? Yep. So I'll look at it like this. That is still a little bit thick for my regular use.
Not as thick as some.
No, obviously not. All right, so that's...
You've got it under control.
Yeah, probably. So it's a sort of a light creamy look, right? So we could thin that further, but I'm just going to try it. We'll see what it looks like.
Blow it out, mate. Just hose it on like a chimp.
So I've just wiped this off, and so I can sort of see the color now. It's a little bit on the dark side, which I want. It is a bit on the gray side, which is not preferable, but I'll give it a go. Okay, so I've got my airbrush already here. Okay.
So this is the thinner.
Yeah, so I found our quick release. You know how last time we were undoing the thing and all the air was escaping? So the quick release here, basically you just undo it and no air escapes. Okay, so you can take this off, easily wash it, and then pop it back.
Is that the 0.2 that we used last time?
No,
Yeah.
this, is
same
it?
Series, yeah, same series.
Oh, okay, yep.
That's the 9 Steps premium one, yeah?
It is.
Yeah.
That's your favorite, isn't it?
I love that gun.
Okay, so at the moment I've got the Mac valve is set to full, and I've got my PSI set to 18. It might be a bit high for doing fine lines, but I'm going to try it anyway.
Full's the only place to have the Mac valve, mate.
Is it? All right, so there's
2
my holder.
speeds.
2 speeds, you're a 2-speed man. All right, so I'm going to pop this into here.
That is such a cool trick, ladies and gentlemen.
Haven't you seen that before?
Look at that, no. I'm learning by the minute.
All right, so we'll leave that there. Close this off so it doesn't go everywhere. All right, I'm going to use, that's why I use this paper too, so I can see actually what the spray pattern is going to be like before I go onto the body. It's pretty fine, isn't it? It's good.
Wow.
All right, so that's good.
That's a good little spray pattern from that gun, isn't it?
It is. So you see how you always get that splatter? Because it always loads up the front, right?
Yeah.
So you just make sure you press it.
Air only.
That's right.
And usually put
And
the
clears
air
it.
before the paint comes through.
Yep,
Some people just like just full noise, but
that's it.
let's see what you're going to do.
All right, so from here, and again, because I don't know where the spray pattern is going to be like, I'll start from the mask area, like this, just to make sure it looks okay. And then I'll choose where I'm going to go. And I'll probably go along all the high areas, yeah? All right, so we'll go...
So you're going to make the window frames look darker, is it? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, so around the window frames, and probably just around the window itself as well.
This is going to be the classiest looking comical vehicle out there.
You reckon?
Yep.
All right, so that's around there. So I'll do each window first, and then I'm going to check it behind some white paper, just to make sure it's even, because it's hard to tell when you're spraying on clear.
Is that the Vallejo paint you've got in there?
It is.
Smells lovely.
You like the smell of this?
Yeah, it's just like sweet, like fairy floss. I think I might have mentioned that before.
Fairy floss. There's nothing wrong with you.
Why? Got like that sweet tang.
Tang? We talked about Tang last time. You don't remember Tang, do
That's
you?
the orange drink that you mix up and you used to drink.
Yeah, that's it. No, you're not into that?
No.
Can be a bit
But
tricky.
I'm feeling very redundant, so I'm going to leave it in your capable hands.
All right, no worries.
Have fun.
Might see you come visit me again, eh?
All right. Just yell out.
All right, bye-bye. All right, so just doing a couple of coats around here. I can see the color coming up on the masking tape, but I still can't tell what the coverage is like, so we'll check that in a moment. All right, so I'm going to rest my airbrush there. Let's get this paper and have a look at it. All right, so you can just see the shadows coming through. Probably not enough on the front end. You can probably do it a bit more on everywhere, actually. Okay, I'm going to keep going. So that's really helpful, being able to see how much coverage you got on. When it gets up to the top there, it's a bit hard to get to because these small bodies are pretty tight. You just have to play around the angle of the body until you get in there. Okay, let's have another look. All right, so it's getting a bit more pronounced. Yeah, it looks okay, I think. All right, so I'm going to continue on doing the shadows on the other edges. Just get the angle right. All right, so just building around the edges, you can see that now, just building up. Now hopefully this is going to be a darker tone. We're going to end up with that as a shadow tone. All right, so there's a side. All right, so you can see that happening there. All right, let's do back here a bit. And then one more line down the back here. Now I plan to use a bit of fluoro blue in here too, just to brighten it all up. And then at the back here. Actually, there's a couple of bits here. Okay, so that's all the lines happening. Actually, I should do across here as well, I think. Should I? Yeah, why not? There we go. All right, I think that's going to be pretty good. Let's just move it around so you can see some of those other lines that I put in. Okay, so I don't need this paint anymore. Let's pour it back into, is it here? No, not that one. Actually, pour it back into here. This is the one that we made dark tone. Probably use that for later. On a different body if we want. I'll just clean my airbrush. So this is just flushing out all the existing paint. Let's get some water in here. Don't need any thinners at this moment. Water is just fine. All right, so I just got my little bottle there. And paintbrush. And brush on the inside. So you've probably seen another video that I've done before with Brett. I think it was painting, what was it? I was painting another RC car. I was showing how I clean brushes and such. All right, so let's flush that out. That's going to need some more. You can see already that it's pretty clean. Because this final flusher should be good for another color. I generally don't clean it out totally for subsequent colors. close enough's good enough, I think, because I've never really had anything get totally adulterated with the previous color before. All right, that's come out pretty clean. Okay, now let me consider what color I'm going to do next. Let's see. I might do a little bit of airbrushing with the funky blue that I had here before, wherever it is. So this one. Yep, that's a funky metallic pearly color shift. And I might just spray that in odd spots so it picks up with the light. So let's just pull that straight in. So this paint here is thin enough to airbrush straight away. Let me just make sure it's all good here. Whoops, that's no good. It's all getting stuck there. All right, so let's just check the spray pattern. You can barely see it because it's a color shift. So it is coming out at the moment. Okay, so I'm just going to add it to a few odd spots. Let's see. Don't know if I can really see it at the moment, but hopefully it comes through. All right, here we go. It's all about experimenting. All right, so I'm done with that. Let's pour the excess in here because we could still use that. It's only a few drops anyway. All right, we're going to clean this out again. Same thing, just going to flush it. Because there's metallic particles in this, we just make sure we brush it really thoroughly so we don't get any metallics going into our next color. And again, it doesn't really matter if a little bit comes through. All right, so from here, I think I'm going to move on to a Flouro blue. Okay, so that's all cleaned up. Now I ended up not using the flow improver, which I was talking about before, simply because I forgot to put it in, but it doesn't look like it's been a problem because I've been putting on thin and it seems to be working fine, so I probably don't need any. The alcohol in that thinner probably helps as well. Okay, so we've got our Flouro. All right, so Flouro's here. Now Flouros generally need to be backed with white, okay? So when it goes on, it's going to look darker than it's going to actually appear after it's been backed. Well, let's have a quick look at this with the white. So you can see how it is quite subtle, really. All right, pop this back. Give myself another little container. And I love these little containers, and you can reuse them, especially with these particular paints because you just wash it out in water. All right, so there's our, probably going to use a bit of that. There's our Flouro. And again, I'm going to use this thinner to mix into it. Now bear in mind, this is normally used for regular modeling paints, but because it's a polyurethane, which is very similar to modeling paints, it works fine. Basically what we want is the water and the alcohol mix, because the alcohol is going to allow it to dry a little bit faster than the water, and the water is there just as a filler, really. All right, so that's a similar mix that we had before. Let me just reload my airbrush right here. keep that for a bit later. All right, I got my booth. Okay, so again, I'll use this just to check the spray pattern. Okay, that's all good. I'll turn off the fan, that's a bit noisy. I'm using water-based paints, which isn't such a bad thing. Now what I want to do here is, I'll probably concentrate with the fluoro around the edges so that the main components here will look brighter when we back it. So let's just concentrate here. And we're going to be using quite a bit of this stuff because this is going to be the bulk of the colour. So I've got my airbrush opened up quite full. Okay, so that's what it's looking now. So it's got that frosty sort of look. Still going to need quite a lot of paint, but we're getting there. Oh, running out of paint there. All right, let's reload. Just wipe off that bit on the edge here that's dripping. That's the best way of doing that. Don't want that dripping onto the body because you can't see what's going on. So that's pretty much cleaned up. All right, so let's continue. Actually, since I'm spraying quite a bit, you can see a bit of dust flow, so I will turn on the fan here just to suck it into a different direction. Alright, so let's get this out of the way. Alright, so let's sort of concentrate on all the edges now. So here, I'm going to give this all an overall coat. Okay, so that's what it's looking like at the moment. Now to see if I've got enough coverage here, I'm going to use the white. Have a look here. This is what it's going to appear like if we backed it with white now. Okay, so it's very, very light indeed. But still too light for my liking. But it's not bad. We will continue a bit more. Let's see, are those shadows coming through? Might be a bit subtle. Okay, so let's keep going. Probably need some more on the back there. Okay, and again I'm out of paint. Okay, let's have a closer look at this again. So shadow is definitely noticeable. Something across the top there. Can see some of these colours come through, like the sixes on the front. Little lines at the back, they're purple. So I'll put in a little bit more of the blue and then I'm going to back it with the white. Okay, let's turn that off. Get some more of this. I was going to play around with some candy blue as well. Let's just finish off all this here. Alright, so that's a whole mix of fluoro there. Alright, fan on again. Definitely starting to look blue now, even with the black backing. So not bad. All right, we're almost out of our fluoro blue now. And that's it. All right, so that's fluoro blue out. I'm just going to wash my airbrush here, a bit more water. Let's turn off this fan. Get my brush and just give this a bit of a jig. Okay, that's pretty clean already. Now let's see, let me think about what I'm going to do next. Because as I said, I was ad-libbing all this. This is what it's looking like so far. It's going to be a very light blue. Okay, so I'm going to play around with some candy blue now. We've got here candy racing blue. Okay, so it's got a touch of a purple to it. Probably add depth. All right, so let's see what this gives us. So I might just, actually, let's get a new one. Got a new little thing here. As I'm pouring it out, it looks like blue ink. Now let's see what it looks like if I just paint it on here. So it's quite a deep blue. All right, now let's see how I'm going to use this. I might do this around the front. So the front is a little bit darker than the back. Okay, let's go. It is very thin. Let's just do a little bit along the edges here too. Okay. Oh, let's get the fan going. Might as well finish that little bit that's in the airbrush. Okay, so all blue, pretty subtle. If you didn't know, then you would think that was just one single blue. Once we've got the white on it, it's going to look quite a bit different. Okay, so again, I'm going to just clean out the airbrush, bit of water. Okay, spray that out here, tip it out, spray the rest out. Right, so that's looking pretty good, I think. It's pretty clean. All right, let's park that aside. Let's see, where's a good place to park that? I can actually disconnect this now, so let's just pull this off. Put this here. I'm just gonna live over there. All right, so that's what we've got so far. I've got my blue, it's on. It's going to be fluoro with all sorts of different hand-painted details as well. But we're going to back that with white now, and the white I'm going to use is a polycarbonate. Okay, so the polycarbonate is going to be quite strong in smell. I've got my booth here, so I will be spraying into that. And that should finish it off. Okay, so let's have a quick look again at what it's going to look like with the white behind it. So it's going to be really, really light color. Hopefully it looks good with all those stickers. So let's see. All right, I'm going to get our white ready. So here it is. Classic PS1, has been around for a while, but it's one of those most used paints, I think. Let's just clear it up a bit here. It's a very dense paint. It's very good for backing. And with fluoro colors, they have to be backed because they're semi-transparent. Make sure it's thoroughly mixed. Just checking, looking at this. Make sure that all the masking tape is still pressed down. Nothing's lifting up. These are all pretty much on flat surfaces anyway, so it mainly lifts up on curved surfaces. Now, as I'm moving this around, I can see that some of the paint on the front here is still wet. So I'm going to hit that with a heat gun so the polycarb doesn't react with it. So we just make sure that's all dry before we use any polycarb on top. You generally tell when it's dry and when you lose the sheen. So there's still a bit of reflection there, which means it's still wet. Now, if you are using a heat gun like this, just make sure you've got it set quite low, because these heat guns can get very, very hot, and if it's too hot, you'll start warping the body. All right, I think that's pretty good. All right, so we lost all the sheen. Let's see what happens now. All right, so we've got our mixed up white. Let's do a thin coat and see what happens. Let me turn on this fan. All right, I'm going to be spraying into the fan, so you probably won't see much going on. Let's see. Really thin coat, basically dusting it on. And this is basically what we're getting at the moment with a thin coat. Okay, so it's going to lighten up quite a lot, as you can see. Really subtle tone differences there, a little bit of detail with the purple. That's going to shift. Okay, so I'm going to do another coat. And that's what we've got now. And see how the backing is bringing up. That's really looking fluoro now. Okay, quite light. You see at the front end, you've got a little bit of a graduation. That's where I use that candy blue. And being transparent is really quite subtle as well. Got a subtle sort of shading along the sides. So on the track, it's still just going to look like a blue car. You're going to see all these details up close. Okay, so at the back, it's still looking a bit patchy. It's going to need quite a lot more white on there. So I might just use this gun again. We'll force it to dry. So basically we want to do this as quick as we can. So basically we're going to keep putting white on this until when we hold it up to light, we can't see through it, because you want it to be as opaque as possible. Okay, semi-transparent just means you're not going to get the whole depth of the color coming through. Even though from what you're seeing out there, it probably looks okay. Still needs quite a lot. Okay, let's continue going. I'm going to concentrate a bit more on the back of it this time. We're going to get it to a point where the inside is going to look pure white. Okay, and that's what we've got now. Still not totally there yet, very close though. So again, we'll use the heat gun, force it to dry. And I'll probably put another 2 coats on this before it's about right. But at least you can see at what point the color tone is coming through. Okay, and there you can see the inside. It still looks like a light blue. So 2 coats will get that into opaque setting. That's what it looks like so far. And basically we're going to be using a lot of stickers on this anyway. So it's going to come out pretty funky, I think, and eye-catching on the track. Okay, so this is the idea. Probably put some of these on there. Oh, that's bright, isn't it? Jeez. Probably going to be using the green ones because we're going to leave the wheels green in the middle and the green stickers are going to tie those two things together. But definitely different looking, isn't it? You won't be able to mistake that for someone else's. Okay, so I'm just going to hold it up to the light. It's got some empty patches there. I'm just going to basically put another coat on and then I think we'll call it. And then the next one, I'll show you what it's going to look like when we start doing the driver figure and also the stickers. Oh, should turn on the fan actually, suck it out. Just holding it up to the light. Actually, it looks not too bad at the moment. Just a bit more at the back. Okay, that's what we've got. There you go. That's the Comical Grasshopper body, painted up in a blue, with some color shifting paints added as well, just by hand. Just to give it that unique look. And you can see from there now, it's almost pure white. So from there, I might do another coat just to make sure it's nice and even, but that's practically finished. So thanks for joining me. Let me just turn off the fan so you can hear me a bit better. So we're just going to let this cure properly. A heat gun is great for in between coats, but if you let it cure naturally, you actually end up with a stronger and better bond with the paint. So we'll leave that, and I might do one more coat of white, but it's going to look pretty much the same. Okay, so the extra coat is going to give it a bit more strength underneath, you know, with the rubbing and such on the body mounts. But that's it. So thanks for joining me again. Hope you learned a thing or two from that. And we're going to continue on with the next episode of us putting on some stickers and painting up the driver figure. And then we'll be ready with, what else have we got to do? That's practically it. Almost ready for the track. So thanks for joining me again. And remember, if you enjoyed this episode, please press the like button. And if you want to see more, think about subscribing because we've always got something new every day. So thanks again.